Hi everyone, welcome to another session on Tech Talk by Samuel. And in this session, we're going to talk about instant types or a general purpose AMIs. So any name that starts with T, right? The instance type that starts with T, T3, T3A, T4G, they all belong to general purpose AMI. Likewise, anything that starts with M, they all belong to general purpose AMI. What do I mean by that? So let me switch to the console. And in here, under the instance type, so let me look for M5. So we have bunch of list of hardwares showing up here. And the family type is M5, as you can see. And just like I showed you, M5, they belong to general purpose. And the other one is T, the family type that starts with T, T1, T2, T3 also, they all belong to general purpose AMI as per this documentation. And then let's look at compute optimized, C5, right? C5, there you go. So that's compute optimized. And then memory optimized, they start with R. And then accelerated computing, they start with D, G, P, TR. They all belong to accelerated computing family. And then there's storage optimized. We have i7i, D3. They're all storage optimized. You can do a search. And there is high performance computing, HP. And there's also previous generation instance type, that's A1, right? So they're all available. So let me switch back to the console. So how do I pick an instance type? Like I said, it's based on your memory requirement. It's based on the storage space you need. It's based on the compute power you would be needing. And also it's based on the cost, how much you're willing to spend on hardware or how much you're willing to spend for a compute resource for that particular application or for that particular project. And once you've launched and your application is running, right, you can always switch between these instant type. Let's say you started with general purpose and over time you realize that what you really needed was compute optimized because now the application functionality have changed and compute optimized would be the right one there. You can always stop the instance and restart the instance on another instance type and you will be provisioned with more compute power, more memory and more storage space. So that's always possible. All right. So let's talk about general purpose. So general purpose, if you don't know where to start, I would say you start with general purpose. It has a balance of compute, talk about T3, all right? So it has a balance of compute, memory, and network resources. In this case, we have, we're looking at T3 Nano. We have two virtual CPUs and 0.5 gigabit memory. And the bill that we'll be paying on an hourly basis, depending on the operating system we use, is listed here, right? So depending on whether you want to go with Windows or Ubuntu or SUSE Linux or Amazon Linux itself, the price is listed here. So you can do that math, and depending on how much you're willing to spend, you can pick up the appropriate instance. And there's T3 Micro. You can see it's two virtual CPU and 1 gigabit memory, and then T3 Small, it's two virtual CPU, 2 gigabit memory, and then T3 Medium, two virtual CPU and 4 gigabit memory, and there is T3 Large. It has two virtual CPU and 8 gigabit memory. So the general purpose instances are in general good for mid-sized data-centric operations. You can use this for running your website. You can use this for different development activities and services. The next one in the list is compute optimized, C5, right? It belongs to compute optimized family. It's again a good use case for web servers, good use case for high-end machine learning workloads, anything that would require more CPU, more memory, and anything that requires strong network bandwidth, compute optimized, it's a good use case. And then next in the list is memory optimized. Just like the name says, it comes heavy with memory. R4 is a memory optimized instance, just like the name says. You see, it has two virtual CPUs, but it has 15.3 gigabit of memory, that's RAM. And then R4 instance comes with four virtual CPU, and it comes with, by default, it comes with 30.5 gigabit memory, and R4 16x large. It comes with 64 virtual CPU, more on compute power, and equally and above, more on the memory, right? It comes with 488 gigabit memory, right? And the price for each is listed here depending on which operating system we want to launch and which flavor within that operating system we want to launch. And then we have accelerated computing, just like the name says. It's quick and fast in doing the compute work. Accelerated computing is very good for 3D visualization. It's very good for financial analysis. It's very good for computational fluid dynamics, on and on. And then we have storage optimized, just like the name says, it's good for storage. Some of the storage optimized are the D2 family. There are a few more in that family. For that, I would suggest you to check the Amazon official documentation on the tag names they use for the tag names that's being used for the different instant types. So here we have storage optimized, and this instance is good for distributed file systems. And this is good for heavyweight data processing applications. All right. So depending on the application or whatever your application is, these instant types got you covered. And again, the best part is if you don't know where to start with general purpose, observe, monitor the usage. And based on the usage, if you need more compute power, then you can pick compute optimized. If your application requires more memory RAM, then you can simply stop the instance and start the instance with a memory optimized instance type. And let's say the flow of the application has now changed, and now we're moving towards accelerated computing, which requires general purpose graphic processing unit, and it requires more performance. Let's say that, then you can very well switch to accelerated computing through the console itself. All right, with this, we conclude this Tech Talk session. I believe you found this information very useful. I want to thank you for the time taken in watching this video. I'll talk to you through another Tech Talk session by Samuel. You have a good day ahead. Bye for now.